Thank you for listening to this podcast from TRE, Talk Radio Europe, your voice in Spain and around the world. For more information, please visit tre.radio.
Okay, time for this. Morning, Mark, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Right, then we're going to get straight into the football. It's been a really good weekend for football out there. Some great matches. What did you make? Where are we going to start? Where shall we start, Mark?
It's tough, and you're right. There was a lot of great matches, but there's something else to look at. And of course, we haven't seen the Brentford-Wolves game yet, but there's actually been 12 goals in the Premier League this weekend.
Right.
But there's still been some great contests, even with a lot of 0-0s and 1-1s.
Yeah.
And no doubt it's a title race. It's really shaping up now. Arsenal went to Everton and did exactly what title contenders do, which is control the game and get a professional win. And Manchester City dropped points against, really, where we're seeing West Ham almost be like a tiger backed into a corner. They've really come alive these last few weeks under Nuno. So West Ham took advantage of one of their few chances. And, City dominated the ball, but they struggled to break down sort of a stubborn West Ham. And, of course, they're fighting Nottingham Forest and Tottenham, who also drew in their games. With Nottingham Forest, that was a very interesting match. There's a few chances that were ruled off from VAR, very tight chances. But mostly goalkeepers had little to do with the outcome there. And then Liverpool and Tottenham, I don't know what to say about this. I'll probably plagiarised Jamie Carragher, which is Liverpool made Tottenham look like a good team.
Yes.
And that's
you can't write Richarlison off, can you? He's able to put a ball in the net. Tottenham just, I think, got back in the game. Liverpool didn't take their chances. I thought also there's some really, I was watching that match. I didn't watch all the matches, but there's some really dodgy decisions being made in there when it came to corners not being given. Did you notice that? A goalkeeper overtly takes the ball over the line, no corner given. Later on as well, it's obvious that the keeper has the last touch on the ball to everybody there, and yet there's no corner given. And those sort of things, but all said and done, I don't think Liverpool took their chances. So Salah not there. Talking about, we've got a couple of great goal scorers in the Premier League who are just not doing it right now, and Mo Salah being one of them, and Erling Haaland at Manchester City. Back to the Manchester City match. They just seem to be not getting anywhere when it comes to teams that are going to park that bus and get behind the ball, and City find it very difficult to break teams down.
They certainly do, and thankfully for us, because it makes for an interesting title race. Of course, they still have one more game to play than Arsenal. Arsenal have 31, City have 30, but there's still a 9-point gap there, and City have drawn their last two matches. So it makes for a very interesting problem for Pep to solve. Yeah,
and also there is that game as well, isn't there? I think it's the 23rd, Man City against Arsenal. So if City beat Arsenal and then have that game in hand, it's not over yet. Pep Guardiola was saying before the weekend started that this is the last chance, really. But I think that's just psychological.
That's mind. He always does that. It's mind games. He's trying to get in the head of the Arsenal players. But that's what he does. He's done it for the last 9 years as well. Yeah,
absolutely. Yes. Anything else to mention football-wise over the weekend?
Probably the Manchester United and Villa game would be the last one. It was a confident victory for Man United, who a lot of questions were being asked them after that Newcastle game, and it was a unique situation to find themselves in. But losing the 10 men is always going to bring that attention. So I guess people were looking to see if United were able to build off the performances that they first had under Carrick, and they certainly did. Villa were very confident on the ball, but they were ultimately punished in the counter-attack by Man United, and it's a big 3 points for them as they push for Champions League football. Now 3 points clear of Villa.
Yeah, the change around for Man United is unbelievable, isn't it? And, you think about how the effect that managers have on a football club. When you see just how it's almost like they were let loose to go and play, and they did, and they're playing for Carrick, and they're doing really, really well. I mean, they just look confident. They look like they're enjoying their football again. It's just an absolute turnaround.
Yeah, we went through it the last few weeks, and we said, it's mostly the basics. It's the basic things, and it's the small things like the way Carrick has implemented training. Training is now shorter. By the middle of the day, 1 o'clock, they're all done. And the players are going home, and they could choose to rest and recover at the training center, or they could just go home. So their days are much shorter, but their training sessions are much more intense. And I think Carrick, as a former footballer and a player of Manchester United and a coach for more than 15 years, knows how to maximise those small little details. And it definitely... He was talking in his press conference this week about the double-edged sword of not playing too many games, and he's like, it's great because we're rested, we're recovered, we've plenty of time to prepare, but it's also, we got to make sure that we keep in the rhythm, because it's very easy if you go 14 days without playing a match to sort of fall out of the rhythm of things. So it's definitely a double-edged sword Man United have going for them, but it's working so far.
Mark, we'll go off to the rugby, and England lost again, but as an English fan, I can probably take a bit of heart. What do you reckon from that performance?
I think so. I think you definitely have to, because this was, wow, what a Six Nations. I'm utterly disappointed that next week I've no rugby to talk, no international rugby to talk about, because this has just been one of the best Six Nations in memory, just for where we've started to where we've ended. I saw a comment, wishing that we could just replay round one with Ireland v France, Wales v England, because I really bet that those two matches would have much different outcomes. Yes. But it's been so exciting seeing each team develop.
And it was such a close fought match as well, the French and the English, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, no, it was great. It ended up being 48-46, and I suppose to understand the importance of this match, it's important to watch the first match of the day, which was Ireland v Scotland, and the guts of it was that whichever team won with the bonus point victory was going to be watching this France match and cheering on England, which was a precarious position to find that either team found themselves in, and it ended up being that Ireland came away with that match. And there was a lot of build-up to it because, of course, Scotland played magnificently against the French. They looked like a team that could beat anyone on earth. There's even questions of, this Scottish team had a better attacking line than the All Blacks. Yeah. So there's quite a lot of praise going towards the Scotland team, but an important fact that was consistently brought up, at least in the media that I watched, was the fact that Scotland had never beaten Ireland in the Aviva. The last time that they'd won in Ireland was when Ireland were playing in Lansdowne Road, and it had easily been 11 or 12 matches since the Scots beat Ireland. So it's easy to paint them as Ireland as their bogey team almost. Yeah. So there's a lot of questions about that, but I don't think that affected the Scottish players too much, because Darcy Ray came out and said that Ireland are there for the taking. So they felt that they were prepared, they were ready. Ireland were a bit weak. But listen, the scoreline 43-21, I think it's a bit generous. It definitely doesn't show the whole picture, because Scotland did play very good rugby, but Ireland just so fast. They managed to slow down Scotland's breakdown, which was a huge reason they were able to run over France last week. And it started very competitively. It started almost like Caelan Doris said, it was a chess match. Each one was taking a piece, taking a try, but Ireland just started pulling away, and it was a very convincing second half for Ireland, and one of the all-time great rugby matches, followed up by Wales and Italy, which really it was more important on the whole wooden spoon argument, because if Wales lost and then England had 50 or 60 points put on them, it could change the outcome of the bottom of the table, or if Wales won, and Wales did end up winning. It was 31-17, and that's sort of a generous scoreline, I feel, to Italy, because they weren't at the races at all. It could have easily been 31-0 to Wales. It was just they built an early lead through a disciplined attacking style that we've seen them consistently develop through the competition, and Italy showed flashes of attacking quality, but they really struggled defensively, and they struggled to put it together in phases because Wales were just that good defensively. And I think those we've seen this Welsh team and Steve Tandy build up this team competition to competition, and especially match through match in this Six Nations. And it was really a proud performance from them. Of course, Welsh rugby is going through a lot of trouble right now.
What a great
so
win.
I think that's a performance they can be really, really proud of to take home and to hopefully inspire some real unity between each other. Then, of course, the big match, France versus England, 48-46. An ITV pundit said that England would have to try score 20 points to even have a chance of beating this French team. They scored double, and until like the 79th minute, they were leading, but... if two things don't happen, if Pollock doesn't give that offload, and if they don't concede a late pressure penalty, England take that match. That's how close it was. There was literally seconds until that's an England win, and that's why it's so dramatic. But when Ramos got the chance, he's one of the most clinical kickers in Europe, maybe even the world. So it was never really in doubt when he was given that kick. But really, what a match, what a Six Nations, and we're very lucky. Rugby is very entertaining.
Live and well and kicking. 2 minutes on the Formula One then, a 1-2 for Mercedes again back there, and Lewis Hamilton making the podium this time as well.
Yeah, Kimi Antonelli won his first ever Formula One race. He had become the second youngest race winner in history, and he led a 1-2 with George Russell right behind him, 5 seconds. Hamilton got on his podium, so that was great to see. With Leclerc behind him by I think 3 seconds or something. Ollie Behrman, it was great to see him so high up. Gasly, the two Alpines were actually in the points, which was that's something really weird to see. Hadjar was there, but Lawson beat him out, and no. It was a good GP, but there was definitely reliability problems everywhere. 4 cars didn't even start the race, including both the McLaren cars. Red Bull continues to have a lot of problems, which kind of makes those comments at the start of the year when Mercedes and Ferrari were calling them fast really, really funny. And there's still a lot of concerns around the energy systems, and I don't want to go over those again because we kind of covered them in detail last week. And then, as you said, Bahrain and Saudi Arabia's Grand Prix have been cancelled because of the war in the Middle East. And not only is that less revenue for F1, which, everyone's going to be very upset about that, but it does affect the teams because obviously they did their winter testing in Bahrain, and they're going to be bringing in new parts. So the Bahrain race is a really good time to evaluate how those parts are actually working in the car. And F1 teams are going to be losing that now. So it actually is a pretty bad race to end up losing because teams are now not going to have such a clear picture of how their parts have improved since winter testing. And then, of course, just shipping and everything. But no, it's a loss to the teams, but less races in the season is probably preferable in a regulation era that is currently producing a lot of reliability issues.
Yep, we shall see. And yes, they've had a lot of racing around the season as well, pre and both seasons. So yes, okay, fabulous stuff, Mark. Thank you very much, my friend. And any plans for St. Paddy's Day tomorrow?
Recover this weekend is what the plan is.
Just the one Guinness, and that'll be fine. Thank you very much, Mark. Have a good one, my friend. Take care.
Thank you.
Cheers.
You've been listening to a TRE production. If you've enjoyed this programme, there'll be another episode waiting for you next week, right here on this platform, where you can also access our extensive back catalogue of shows and interviews. For more information on our live programming, social media channels and apps, and how to contact Talk Radio Europe, please visit TRE.radio.